We are talking to Martina, who's going to be joining us to present her one-woman show, Just a Giant Cinderella. And one of the things that I have been explaining to people as I talk to them about this production is that I feel like it's a show about life and living.
Hmm.
And I'm interested in hearing your perspective on it because it can be perceived as being heavy material. We're dealing
Yes.
with issues of mental health and challenges and
Hmm.
some suicidal ideation throughout the play.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
these are things that I think are frightening sometimes
Hmm.
to people to discuss
Hmm.
in our community, but probably I bet the community at large. So
Yes.
heavy material explored with humor.
Hmm.
Tell me a little bit about developing this serious subject matter.
Well, about a year ago, I started taking a writing class with Kathy Ranking in Atlanta. It was on Zoom, and I knew that would need to start creating my own material, because I live in Canada and I'm a bit of a tough place here with the whole legalities of working with a work permit and not a permanent residence. So I knew that I had to start creating my own content. So I found this writing class. I always knew that I enjoyed writing because in every single job I had, that was my favorite part. Um, but I didn't think that I could write my own story. And in the first class, she said to me, "You should write your own solo show." At first, my first thought was, A, what is that? Because I wasn't familiar with that. And B, how do I do that? So we started doing with journal prompts and just writing down, verbal diarrhea, basically, what comes to mind when you get a certain prompt. And these stories started evolving, and they all had the same common theme. It was all leading back to my life and my struggles with mental health. And then I just started to realize, okay, there's definitely a story here that needs to be told. Um, and I lived for years with mental health issues without anyone knowing about it because I was always covering it up. I was always ashamed of it. I felt foolish. I felt like I should know better. Like it's not something a normal, healthy person has. Um, and so I covered it up for years and years and years. And that just kept it kept building up underneath the surface. And and so I realized, yeah, I definitely have to write about this because I don't think I'm the only one. I don't think I'm inventing the wheel. I think there are a lot of other people. And even though it doesn't help you with your own struggles, when you hear about someone else's journey, it still gives you a sense of not being the only one and that it's a normal human thing and it can happen to anyone. And of course, there are variations in mental illness, but I just knew that that's basically part of my passion and part of the reason why I'm here to do what I do. And I just have to tell this story. So that's kind of how that whole thing started. Yeah.
Awesome. And the show is completely based on your experiences. Is the character that is on the stage you?
Yes. Yeah. There's
Okay.
some exaggeration in there.
Yeah.
But the core of it, yes, is my experience and my life. And it really is a journey of it's a hero's journey and goes through several stages of me not feeling like I fit in anywhere, between the two worlds that I grew up in, because I'm a dual citizen of the US and Switzerland, and living with those, with that duality and trying to figure out where is my place in this world, me as a human, as a woman, as a girl. And yeah, so it's definitely based on my life. Yeah.
And
Which
so
makes
and
it
so
very,
you felt like you didn't know where you fit in. That was it.
yes.
I mean, you had so you through different phases in your life
Mhm.
have felt that consistently.
Yes, still do to this day. I mean, I think that's, for me, it's an ongoing journey. And I honestly don't know if I'll ever figure it out, but I'm getting more comfortable with that thought. It used to be a huge cause of anxiety because that's why I kept moving around. That's why I kept changing jobs, because I never ever felt like I fit in anywhere and I couldn't be myself anywhere.
Yeah.
And getting to that realization that it's not anything from outside, it has to come from the inside.
Ah,
That confirmation. That's the hardest lesson to learn. And that's the hardest thing to become comfortable with and learn how to live with that.
mhm. And how did you begin to do that? How did you begin to say, I'm going to live with this? I'm not going to look for a way out. I'm gonna
Um,
I'm gonna stay with this. And I do appreciate in the show that I think how you deal with the concept of suicide is very respectful.
mhm, mhm.
Um,
Yes.
and I think that you honor it well. And that may sound uncomfortable in some ways.
Mhm.
Well,
Yes, because and
but
one of the most important things for me about the show is to understand that I'm not advocating for suicide. I'm not pro suicide, but I'm pro understanding.
yeah,
I'm pro understanding that some people have struggles that they can't handle anymore. And and that's kind of, I try to approach it from a place of love, where we can't always see what everyone is going through, because we're all going through a lot of stuff a lot of the time. So and especially because I hid it for so long, I think a lot of other people do.
yeah,
And it's a beautiful thing to reach out to everyone, but maybe that communication is not always going to happen, that the one that needs to happen for whatever reason, a multitude of reasons. And I just felt it was very important to talk about it, because we don't in a lot of areas, and there's a lot of judgment and there's a lot of stigmatization surrounding that topic.
very true.
And we can't always understand everything from A to Z, why it happened. And maybe that's not even necessary.